Hey, g'day, it's Josh here from Physique Essentials and the Elite Physique Project. I hope you're well. And I'm joined here, one of my guys here, Matt. Mate, how are you?
Good yourself?
Good, buddy. Good, good, good. All right. Have a little bit of a powwow in the chat. Can you just give yourself a quick Soldiers 5 intro and we'll go from there?
Yeah, well, yeah. So yeah, basically, yeah, I've been on the whole diet bandwagon and all that for best part of 2 decades and lost
Mm-hmm.
weight and found weight and yeah, was basically yeah, it was the pulling together of all the knowledge that I had and then being
Yep.
held accountable with a
Yep.
few tweaks and quite a few bits of encouragement and also sort of facts that sort of we've been told to focus on when that changes
Yep.
like your weight and your numbers and all that they all
Yep.
change daily and yeah, don't get too hung up by that, just keep working the system and yeah, no, it's
Cool.
here I am.
Cool. I think you've just hit that. You haven't just hit a six. You've kind of hit it out of the stadium. Like there's so many parts that you just dropped that I want to kind of retract on and touch back on some of them. So you said that you've basically got 2 years of experience in dieting history in that regard.
Oh, 20 to make it 20 years.
20 years, yeah. And then you said that so it's lose some, gain some. So I think the reality is for a lot of the guys I speak to is that losing weight is a relatively simple journey. You know what I mean? Like you eat less food than you've been eating, do a little bit of exercise, but then you said you always regained it. So is that something that you'd always struggled with, the regaining?
Oh, absolutely. You
Yep.
know, like, and you get disheartened, you start watching the numbers and you get all excited when the numbers go down and then
Mhm.
something goes wrong and then all of a sudden the numbers fly back up a lot quicker than they ever went down, and then you sort of get a bit disheartened and
Yep.
you just lose. You just get disheartened and basically just fall off the bandwagon. Then till you get to another point where you go, no, I've got to really change this.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, yeah, you can say like you lose five, regain six,
Yeah, well,
lose
it's always
five, regain six. And it was something that someone shared with me years ago. And they said the reason why we always regain a little bit more is because let's just say that you lose 5 kilos and you regain 5 kilos, you already know what that feels like. You've already been in that exact same position before. You know what that 5 kilos feels like. It's not until you then gain a couple of extra kilos on top of that and you start hitting this high point that you've never been before. It's this new level of uncomfortableness, if that's the right word, that it's like, oh shit, I got to do something here. And then that journey continues on.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
it's,
was the standing joke was, yeah, I lost the weight and then found its
yeah.
cousins on the way back.
And again, even as you touch back on that, on like it being a standing joke, like the very emphasis on it is sometimes we do, we kind of mask the pain with humor in that regard. And it's all right, we just kind of carried on. And this is an investment I'm building here and all that sort of stuff. But deep down, like a lot of guys like they're struggling, like really struggling to be able to create that long-term sustainable change. And then something else that you said right at the start, what we've touched on before, like you've got a lot of knowledge. Like over you do this for 20 years, you learn how to lose weight. Now let me ask, how many times do you think on average per year you would embark on a journey to lose?
Um, well, early on, it was the stints were longer,
Yep.
so like you might stick at it for months, a couple of months,
Mm.
6 months, 8 months.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just the last couple of years, I've always been trying something. It's basically with a
Okay.
couple of weeks off or a month off in between.
Okay. So do you reckon we could average it out that maybe twice a year, 2 to 3 times
Uh,
a year
at
over?
least, yeah,
Okay.
3 times a year probably.
Okay. And then on that, what would be the average sort of loss that you would have? Like what would be an average? Like would you do like an average 5 kilo loss?
Yeah, 5 to 10, probably
Okay.
five.
All
Yeah,
right.
5 to 5. Yeah, 5 to 7, I
Okay.
suppose. Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep it low. We'll say five. And the reason I present this because what it really shows is if we average 3 attempts per year over 20 years, that means there's been about 60 attempts to lose weight. If on average you're losing around 5 kilos per pop, therefore you've lost about 300 kilos of body weight in the space of 20 years. So when you really map it out like that,
Pretty impressive.
you're somewhat of a weight loss expert. And this is the thing a lot of guys don't realize. Like, you know how to lose weight. So the problem itself has never been about losing. It's always been about the sustainability. It's always been about creating the right lifestyle and the right systems and the right habits. So when you lose it, you're not finding its cousin again. That's you've
Yeah.
now permanently kept it off. So, and that's what we've done here. So what was it that led you to reach out to me?
Good old Facebook ads. Oh, I I good old Google suggestions, and
Yeah.
so sort of looked up a couple of diets, and then
Cool.
then I got bombarded with about five or ten different programs to sort
Yep.
of just to look into,
Cool. And that's
and
so
yeah,
like I tend to use Facebook. I do use it for marketing, but also too, my wife shares Foo Fighter photos with me and stuff like that. He's saying that, and it's one of the things with I, I don't know the right word, what it's actually called, but we know with marketing these days and phones and all that sort of stuff, if you look at one thing, you'll then start get bombarded with all that messaging. You know what I mean? So you just
yeah.
get all these different programs to look at. So what was it from me that stood out? Because I'm trying to cut through a very, a sea of confusion as well.
Um, yeah, it was a case of like when we had we had a couple of chats, and like just the or just basically you were calling me out on some of the stuff that I was saying to myself,
Mm-hmm.
which I knew deep down were issues, but
Yep.
you you didn't know me anything, so therefore you were just saying, well, hey, this is the truth of the matter, this is the
Yep.
facts.
Yep.
Here we are. Um, and yeah, it was a case of as you said at the thing, like yeah, we can have a chat in 12 months' time, but where will we be?
Mm.
I'll be heavier,
Yep.
and you'll probably still be saying, "Yeah, you ready to sign up yet?"
And that can actually be a bit of a confronting moment. And kudos to you in that regard, because to acknowledge number one that that could be the potential, but then also too, it is something that you need to act upon. Because again, it's me in a matter of just trying to figure out what's going on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
in terms of, the goal is one thing. I want to lose weight, cool. But if we think about it in terms of, and something that I try and bring differently is, I don't believe the weight itself is a problem. As we just identified, you've lost 300 kilos over your career in weight loss. You know what I mean? So you know how to lose weight. The problem is the regain. It's the reoccurring. So why does it reoccur? And there's obviously underlying habits and routines and the environment in which we live that is contributing to that weight gain. So unless something drastically happens in a complete 180, if you don't change something within your lifestyle, where do you think that you're going to be in 12 months? And some guys will sit back and go, oh, no, I'm going to turn it around. Well, how are you going to turn it around if you don't change what you're doing? Or to actually acknowledge that, yes, I have the potential, if I stay on the same path, I will be heavier, I'll be worse off. And the only thing that's actually going to change is I'm going to be 1 year older. I need to do something about it. And that's it. And then when you have that opportunity, well, it's now or never. Again, sometimes some of the guys will sit back and they'll go, oh, well, I'm going to choose to remain stuck here, and I'll throw every excuse known to man. I can't do this, or the wife won't let me, or whatever. Like, I've never ever met someone whose wife later rang me up and said, I can't believe now he's fitter, healthier, happier, stronger. How dare you? Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
kudos to you to taking that on. Now, in terms of numbers and stuff like that, like, in the last 10 weeks, I've had a look before, like, you've been able to drop 10.4 kilos off the scales, and that's in body fat as well. Also to 13 centimeters from the waist, which is pretty remarkable, like, in terms of a quick turnaround. So how are you now feeling with that result?
Oh, it's nice to go down a pant size
Cool.
and start to get into a smaller shirts and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Awesome.
it's a gradual thing. So yeah, so it's just a case of keep chipping away at it.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because there is a discrepancy, and I don't think it's often talked about in terms of the amount of time it takes to be able to teach you steps and processes and frameworks to be able to achieve a result, then also to the length of time it takes to achieve the result itself. Like, if you want to lose 5 kilos or 35 kilos, they're going to take two completely different lengths of time to achieve the result, but you can learn the same skills and processes. So that's what I aim to do yeah, with our project is to be able to not only teach you the way in which to do things, but then also to shifting your mindset and your beliefs, because that's really important. Because is it safe to say that after, 3 attempts a year, 20 years in the process, like you have another crack at weight loss, and yes, you start to see something positive on the scale, but there's that little thought in the back of your head going, well, it's only going to be a matter of time before shit falls apart and I regain the weight. Like, has that been a recurring theme in the past?
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Especially the last 4 or 5 years. It's
Okay.
just, yeah, it's just got to the point where you just go like, mate, this is just a merry-go-round. I'm just going round and
Yeah.
round circles.
And how are you feeling now? Because again, some of the things that you've said, like you've said, it's a gradual journey, and we know what your real goals are. You know what I mean? Like we're
Yeah.
one quarter to the goal. So how
Yeah.
do you feel at this point, continuing to move forward? Like, are you starting to feel that little bit of anxiety and a little bit apprehensive, not sure if I'm on the right path, or are you just as confident leaning into it, going, I understand the process, I understand how this now works, I've made some real changes, and I know that come this time next year, I will be hitting my goals.
Yeah. Well, like I'm confident of hitting the goals. I'm still not that
Cool.
confident in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm still working on that, but that's a work in progress.
Cool.
But yeah, like it's all about education, and it's all about actually putting. There's no sense having education without actually doing it. So,
That's it.
yeah, hopefully, yeah,
No, cool.
yeah, just keep plugging away.
That's it. And again, just something else that you've just said as well. Like a lot of guys think that the secret to all of this is going to be the special training program. We've got to whip up some special program. There's going to be some special diet, especially when you're after 40 and all that sort of stuff. So your hormones are plummeting and you got to do this and all this sort of bullshit. But the truth is, like, one of the things that you said to me right at the start is like you weren't that comfortable in the gym. You were going to exercise at home, but if you felt that if you were going to get better results going back to the gym, we would do that. And the workout that we pieced together was, quite basic. 3 whole body sessions a week, and they just kind of rotated between themselves. But they've been highly effective in terms of strength gains. But the thing that, as a coach and a mentor, I'm able to acknowledge is that not one session was missed. Every session was missed, and when I was going through your numbers, there was improvements across every exercise every week. So it's been fantastic in that regard. So what we've been able to do is customize a training program that suited your level of gym competence, your confidence level, and what you wanted to do, and then also to being able to balance with shift work.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's been a good couple of months for
Yeah.
nights and days and moving stuff around and trying to fit in gym sessions and
Yep.
when to eat and when not to eat and yeah,
That's the reality of it, and it's something that I've always tried to share. That, and again, I think a lot of the reasons why other programs will fail is just the application by the individual. So what will happen is they'll see something and I'll go, right, I've got to train 7 days a week, 6 days a week. I've got to try and live on all this different food and I can't eat carbs or whatever. And the rest of the family is doing this, but I've got to be on my special food and I've got to be on my special supplements and I need to train at this time. And either what will happen is I'll go, screw this, I can't do it. Or they'll try and do it and try their absolute best. They'll make life absolutely miserable, not only for themselves, but their family around them. And then when it comes to D-Day, they're like, thank God this is over so you can kind of get back to normal. Rather, what we want to be able to do is like, yes, understand there are foundations to a program that we need to adhere to. So if we want to be able to lose weight, we need to eat better. We need to eat with some purpose and some structure and fuel appropriately. If we want to get stronger, we need to eat, we need to train consistently. But there's this thing called life, and life throws us curveballs every single day. It could be, trips away, you go on camping, you've got work shifts, and the wife wants to do this and all that sort of stuff. So really it comes down to the way in which we can understand a different obstacle, flip it, turn it to an opportunity, and just keep moving forward. Steady progress day after day. And it creates massive inroads. And that's the thing. So if you're at this point now where it's like, I'm starting to feel more confident moving forward, then that's rocking.
yeah, yeah. No, it was good. Like it was especially with the training because it was something that I'd tried years ago, but sort of fell off the wagon with it.
Yep.
And yeah, once you set the challenge for me, the thing was not to make sure that I didn't. And so
Yep.
yeah, the week I went camping, I ended up doing three gym sessions. What was it? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Mhm.
to make sure that I had the three done by by
Yeah.
Saturday morning. So
And
yeah,
sure, some things sometimes aren't ideal.
yeah,
I mean, but as I said, like that's like life. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say you might be running for late for work one morning, and the car's going a bit funky, and you've got a flat tire. It's a not ideal situation, and it's raining, but you've got to do what you need to do. And again, that taps onto something really important because a lot of guys will reach out and I'll say things like, you know, you need to help me with motivation. And I'll often use the example that, listen, are you motivated on a Monday morning when it's 6 a.m. and you've got to go to work and it's cold? No, you do it because there's a reward waiting at the end of the week. And it's exactly the same. You know, we have to have a little bit of discipline and structure and routine. The irony is once you start to put those into place, the results will actually come thick and fast, which in turn is very motivating because if you've been failing in the past, all of a sudden you start to see your body change, but more so your mindset is starting to change, your beliefs are starting to change. And it's like, shit, I can do this. I've been failing all these times. I've been telling myself all these excuses of why I can't do it. And now, not only can I do it, but I am doing it because the results are right here. My clothes are fitting better. I'm getting compliments. Yeah, I want to keep doing more of it. It becomes infectious. But yeah, if you blew a session off when you were going camping, I would have pulled you up. I said, listen, there's a tree. We could have done some push-ups against the tree.
yeah. That's it. That's it.
Stuff
And
like
quite right
But
too.
you,
You should
but you
have.
know what? In situations like that, it's not just the physicality. You know what I mean? To be able to sit back and look at the overview for the week, here is a potential challenge and an obstacle if I don't adjust my thinking to it. What can I do? I can get the session in when I get home. I can do the session out there. I can get it done before I go. And that's it. You know, what can I do in regards to nutrition? I can either, you know, chase a possum around a bush or I can take care of my nutrition. I know the week that you went away and you came back and your stats were positive. And it's like,
Yeah.
this, you know, you can't ask for more. And even other times when there's been a little, you know, a few indiscretions here, I possibly shouldn't eat this or that. And then we look at the numbers and it's like, mate, you're moving in the right direction. So obviously you're doing something right. And as I said, like getting to this point, you know, to still be, you know, confident and positive that you're on the right path and you really have turned something around within your lifestyle, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the $1 million question is, are you glad that you actually pulled the trigger when you had the opportunity?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
I get to work with you.
But you know, but more so the reality is I get to work with you. That's the real part. You know what I mean? Like it's if I'm able to help, you know, shift the beliefs and your mindset in the way in which you think and do things. So think about it like this: like if you've got, and again, when you map it out like that, when you've got 60 failed attempts of sustainable weight loss. As we identified, you're a weight loss guru. If you can lose 300 kilos, you're a champion at it. It's sustainable weight loss. So when you've got that, and if the path doesn't change, it'll never change. And again,
Mm.
like, if you plan on having another 35, 40 years of living to go, nothing will happen except one day you'll either go, screw it, I give up. I'm sick of doing this. I might as well just be whatever, happy and beyond of it. But the truth is deep down, we never are. And as I'll often say, you know, regret's a bitch. You get down the track and you look back and it's like, man, I wish I took that opportunity when I did. So for you to be able to sit back and say, you're glad that you did, awesome. And if someone was watching and if someone was sitting on the fence and they're going, I don't know, this guy sounds like everyone else, I don't know, what would you say?
Well, yeah, I have no regrets. I have no regrets. My wife has no regrets. So yeah, she's, like it's been a constant chatting point, and so like yeah, it's good to actually have that accountability and the system, not so much the system, but the just to put into real life what we know, and
Yep.
then just call it just go for it, just do it.
Cool. No, couldn't be happier. And as I said, like this is just a start. And the great thing about this is again, not just in terms of your weight loss journey, because you will hit a point when weight loss will be no longer the goal. That problem and that obstacle will be gone for good. And then it will be what's next. Yeah. So when you think about it like that, the burden that has been there for the last 20 years, and sometimes even this itself can be somewhat confronting because we get used to being in that shitty situation. But it's like you'll get to a point where it's like, I can walk into the shop, pull anything off the rack, wear it, look good, feel good. All the obstacles, all the challenges, that part of my identity for those 20 years is now gone. Now you've got a clean slate. It's like, what's next? What else can I do? And that's the
Yeah.
thing about it, as you know firsthand, like the processes that I teach in this isn't just about weight loss per se, because that's just about the current obstacle that you're dealing with now. It's about being able to, maximize opportunity. So if I'm currently here and I set a goal and I've got this time frame, what can I do? What can I achieve? How do I keep myself accountable so I can just keep ticking off the bucket list? And that's the most important thing. So you can get out there, not just live life or survive it, but you're thriving and exploiting it to the hilt. Getting out
Yeah,
there, making the kids chase you.
that's it.
Cool, mate. Thank you so much for sharing some insights. Again, I'm going to wrap this up again. My name's Josh. This is Matt. If you want to know more, if you want to chat like Matt did 11 weeks ago, just click on one of the links that you'll see here on this page anywhere. We'll have a chat and we'll get you started. Thank you, sir.
Cheers.